Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only John Connor. I am John, and today I am playing the Stanley Parable. It's kind of the most ridiculous game you'll ever see. You can pick up the demo on Steam right now. It's you just need to check it out. I think the best way to describe it is just to play it, so let's get into this.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, of every month, of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-lending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay. This is looking pretty good. There I am, 427. I got my own office room. That's pretty good. So it looks like that door is lacking in window.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
It's possible.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Well, there's the coffee mug. That's kind of a trace. Who farted? That's interesting. Papers. Can I read that? What's on the paper? Nothing. Whoa! It just shut off the computer. Can I turn it back on? I have... Well, okay. Somebody ran out of here like a crazy person. Okay, we gotta find these people. Oh my goodness. They're just so messy. What a bunch of littering people. Man, they got some crazy coffee. Be my Valentine. Okay. Let's see if I can shut that. Yep. So I can shut off computers but not turn them on. What's in here? That looks kind of shady. That looks very shady. A lot of papers being left around. Huh.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office.
That's correct.
But it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
What do you know about advancing stories? You're a scripted narrator. I hate Monday. Whoa. What's that say? Jewel? I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, so... Oh, okay. Very serene. Sales in this quarter. This does not make sense. Losing money. That does not make sense. I agree with that.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
But did he really? See, should I obey the narrator that knows what's going to happen? Or should I use my own instinct. If the narrator had said nothing, what would I do? I'm right-handed, so I think I would tend to go to the right. But maybe I would deny that and go to the left. But, jeez. Okay, I'm just gonna spin around, close my eyes, and go. Oh, okay. We're going to the right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
way,
well.
according to
Perhaps
me.
he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
It's a possibility, but would I want to admire it had you not suggested it first? That's the question. Magic closing
Yes,
doors.
truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
It's quite a lot to drink in.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
You forgot about the cold drinks. Forgot the cold drinks.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
They left because of me. Thanks a lot, narrator. Oh, here's that same coffee cup. Fuel.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
The game is aware of
But at last,
itself.
he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
So I disobeyed the narrator. Okay.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
See, the game is telling me to go down there, but it wants me to go here. I have a tendency to defy the game. So I'm gonna go down here. Oh, crap. Okay, so that looks like the meeting room. So let's defy the game again. Of course. Of course. Of course. Let's just try this. You know, this... Wait a oh, okay. So, that's where we just came from. This is gonna be the meeting room.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
We need reviews. More water coolers. Work harder, hard worker. A lot of percent. Everyone is unique. You, most of all. Oh, man. Oh, that's good. Whoa! It's a trick. It's a trick. Not gonna fall for it. Not gonna do it.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Or maybe I walk downstairs to the janitor's office. Fire hose. Hidden ladder. I feel like this is just gonna end up being a Slender game. Ah! Ooh.
But Stanley
Nice
just
Civic.
couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that.
That is
And in such
what
a
I was
competitive
thinking,
economy,
actually.
why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense.
No, I'm not
And as
crazy.
Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Oh
Why
my
did doors
goodness.
close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
Yeah.
Were they simply repeating?
They did.
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
Wait,
So,
what was that sound?
he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Whoa!
Then
I'm floating,
he imagined
guys.
himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so
Whoa.
much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up.
Why can't I do
How
this in
was he
real life?
remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he
Can we
thought
go
it all
deeper?
very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited
Closing my
himself
eyes.
to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin,
Whoa.
the press of the
What
mattress
happened?
on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Okay.
Stanley began screaming. Please,
my
someone
gosh.
wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? And everything went black.
Jeez. That was kind of scary.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
That was weird. So, I don't really know what to think about that.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Huh. Oh, that's new. The end is never the end? That's what the loading screen says, right? Whoa, they all say that. Except that one. Okay, this is kind of weird. Yeah, these ones say it too. Pages are still there. What's this? Awaiting input. Whoa, 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 whoa. Could I walk on that before? Okay. Waiting input. I put that one. Whoa. Come on. How do I input? Come on. Let me input. That is weird. Waiting input. Oh, input received. Duh. Wasn't reading. Wonder what that means. What does it mean? What does it mean? Locked. Everything's locked. Okay. Everything looks normal. Spilled coffee. Got something for me, narrator? It still doesn't make sense. Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, I went to the right last time. Okay. Let's do this. Well, I guess I went this way last time anyway.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Alright.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I guess that's possible. There's the old broom closet again. I still don't trust this. I'm not gonna trust that.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. Open that door? No. That's not gonna happen. Ooh. Can't go to the bathroom. This is nice, although it looks like something from The Shining. Kind of creeping me out now. Boss?
Stepping into
Okay,
his
he's not
manager's
gonna be here.
office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course,
2845.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
What if Stanley were to put in the incorrect code?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845.
What you gonna do? Come on, there's gotta be something in here. Give me an Easter egg. What about 2841? No?
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Didn't need the passcode anyway. This is kind of weird. What's that? Oh my goodness. Guess we're gonna push that button. Now, going into Portal 2 territory here.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
That's kind of creepy. What's down here? Hello?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Call exterior 914. Oh, dang. Okay, mind control facility. That's kind of sketchy. So what's this? Escape. Obviously, I want to escape from a mind control facility. But if the game is tricking me, this down here is actually the mind control facility. And that is the escape. Chicken and the egg. It's the chicken and the egg. Okay. We gotta go down here. We're going down here. Ladies and gentlemen.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
I knew it. But maybe this is a ploy also. You never know.
The door
Just
behind
going
him
deeper
was
into
not
the rabbit
shut.
hole.
Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
I'm not gonna do it, Mr. Narrator. I know
At this
your
point,
little game
Stanley
here.
was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
That's correct. As bad as this looks, something great is gonna happen. Okay. It's gotten even creepier
As the
now.
machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise,
My goodness.
he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was a necessary loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Stop! Stop it! Just stop! I stopped it.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
No.
In a single visceral
Who are
instant,
you?
Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
What? Hey. I don't think I died. I don't think I'm dead. What's that? The Stanley Parable.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
What the? It's a new narrator.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in
Wha-
advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Hey, look, this is my office. It's right there. Office layout. It's exactly the same. What the? Filing cabinets. Office computers. I can still shut them off. The two doors. First concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's dine. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it. Exploration. Whoa. This is an enigma wrapped in illusion. This is weird. Button sounds. What's that? Huh? Wow. Okay, credits for the game. It's like the game is technically over, but it's not. I still have a choice right here. This is killing me. How do I choose? Because I know once I go down one, I can't go down the other again. Ah. Come on. Look at this. Let's just go down here. I don't... Employee lounge, underground. Escape. Oh, I could just hear something. I definitely heard something over here. He's talking. He's talking over here. What? That is weird. Voice and narrator recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly. He keeps talking. 2 years of development. These are clips from early takes that were not used in the frame.
Where were all of his co-workers? Oh, they're throwing a surprise party for him for all his button pushing. Does that sound plausible to you?
Okay, so they're just whispers from here. Okay. Alright. What's down here? Yes. Office clock. Huh. It's just showing the design. What the? Okay, I gotta look through everything here before I go down that crazy